Good evening, Melly.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hey, hey.
Hello.
All
Can
right,
you
all
guys
right,
hear
all
me?
right.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we're hearing you much better now. Much better now. How
Okay.
are
Okay.
you?
That feels so good. I am good. How are
That is great.
you?
I am good. How are you doing today?
I am good. I have people working in my house today, but
Right.
it's been a good day. You know
Okay.
when the season, when Christmas time coming around, especially in Trinidad and Tobago,
Yes.
start preparing the house on
Yes.
things. So
Yes, for sure.
that's the season.
For sure, for sure. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, you guys, if you're never aware with how I like to do my conversations, I like to give everybody the proper introduction. This lady that you are seeing on the screen here, we've had the opportunity to connect just in our homeland of Trinidad and Tobago. And I will tell you that I am always impressed and I always enjoy her energy, her spirit, her vibe. I always enjoy the fact that every single time that we connect, we always have something positive to tell each other, even at times when sometimes you don't even know that the other person is going through something. And it just speaks to how the universe aligns you with people at times who gives you that kind of energy that you probably didn't know you needed at the point in time. And I'm so happy that we've been able to make this conversation take place after so long. So, ladies and gentlemen, on the inside, the midday therapy today, Miss Melly Rose, international recording artist. Great to see you. Good to see you. It has been a while that we've been talking about doing this.
I know it has been. We've been
Definitely
talking
has
about
been.
this a while,
Definitely.
but you know what? It's always on time. Everything happens in its
Correct.
right time. So
And
this
I
was
know
the time.
I was telling somebody that this week that despite what may have taken place earlier on Tuesday this week, the universe is never incorrect. No, that's the truth. The universe is never incorrect. The universe does what it's supposed to do.
It's never
Definitely.
incorrect.
Now, before we get into the meat of the conversation, I'm not going to assume that everybody who's tuning in today knows entirely who Melly Rose is. So, if you could give us what I call the origin story, what is the origin story of Melly Rose?
So I was born in Trinidad and Tobago.
Right,
My mom lived abroad in the US and she took me up when I was the age of 13. I went away. I went to Baltimore School for the Arts and I went to Morgan State University where I graduated.
right,
Both Baltimore School for the Arts, I did music. And then after at Morgan State, I did double major business management and music. And
right,
then I packed up all one morning. I woke up, packed up all my things, and I moved to Trinidad. And I moved back home
right,
and I have been pursuing a career as in music, but I also recently have been doing a lot of things in the television space where I've been like
right.
creating shows and directing shows for television. And I actually created the first Soca freestyle for BT. Um,
Hey,
and I'm actually working on some more projects right now.
just for the people who have never seen the soca freestyle for BT, what was the concept behind that, and who were some of the artists that worked on that freestyle as well?
Okay, so we highlighted Nessa Preppy, Pretty, Earth and Al's, Second Star, Mikhail Teja, and myself. It
Right.
was basically a concept just to highlight young artists in our space and basically put them on television in the international spectrum of
Right.
things.
Right.
Yeah.
For you, what has been the response coming out of that? Were you able to get, I guess, the kind of response that you wanted? And I would say the momentum coming from that, was it the momentum that you would have liked? Or what are some of the opportunities that may have opened up for you from doing that?
So it was a great okay. So two folds. Um, and the I think the I'll give the positive and then I'll give the negative. So the
Sure.
positive part about it was that you know it opened it up for me to be able gave me options on multiple different television entities to be able to create content in the Caribbean for them,
Right.
right? But it also made me realize how hard it is to get out um, artists in our space to do
Mm,
stuff like that.
right.
Because it was such a difficult thing to bring together, because at first I had a different vision for it, and it was very difficult to create the vision, you know what I
Right.
mean, that I had. And I was going to create more than one, but it was so tough to get everyone to come together for the first one. It kind of deterred me a little bit to do more of it. But
Right.
after, important it is for our culture and how much more of that we need, because it doesn't take one. We need to be in other spaces more and more
Right.
often. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's
Right.
the thing. Like in the dancehall space, they have so many big dancehall artists that take part of things in the international market. But our space, there's not a lot of that happening, and we need to make more of that happen.
I have a very interesting question to ask about that, which I promised to come back to because we had two entertainers, two guys in the dancehall space here about 2 weeks ago, the last time I was on, and we had a very interesting conversation about that. But I promised to come back to that for sure, for sure, for sure. What would you describe as your musical style? Because my thing right now, I hate to single out people as a reggae artist, a soca artist, whatever. I understand that
Right.
that might be their preferable genre, but given your background, given your talents, given the range that you have, I don't necessarily want to say that you're a soca artist. So, what would you say
Right.
is like your musical style? What would you describe your musical style as?
You know what's so crazy? When I came into the music industry, I wanted to be a soca artist because that was a dream of mine since I was 11, right?
Right,
And then I started like creating music, and I realized like I don't want to be pigeonholed. I
right,
don't want to just be like, I want to do one genre of music. And even this year, like, because Crazy had told me a while back he wanted me to do a parang. And
right,
I was like, when the time is right, I will do one. You know, once I feel it out and know that this is something I actually want to sing. And this year I
right,
actually did my first parang, and I
right,
absolutely love it. And it was the thing that I love the most about it is that, like, if you know me, around Christmas time, I'm big on making pastel. I make my ham, I cook, I share
right,
my stuff in my stories. You would see me cooking and chefing it up and making my black cake and stuff like that. And then when I go in the village where my family is, they're playing parang. We're outside, we're liming. It's such a vibe. You know what I
right,
mean? And I was like, yo, like I really wanna not just do a parang, but I wanna highlight the culture of parang to my international audience who might not know about it. You know what I mean?
right,
That's such a big part of our so like I to be like pigeon soca artist as a, you know what I mean? I don't want to be labeled. I'm a musician. I
right,
studied music. I listen to music. I create music. Even the parang, we sat down and we created it together. Just like most of my take when all like a lot of my songs, a lot of the songs I created with Kit, we sat in the studio and we built it from scratch. You know what I mean? I'm a
right,
musician. So I don't want to be
right,
pigeonholed. You know what I mean? I
right.
just want to be a musician.
It's funny you went to that direction because I could probably segue to one of the later things I wanted to ask you, but I'm going to bring that question up now as we continue 3:26 p.m., 4:26 p.m. in Trinidad and Tobago. We're talking to Melly Rose right here on GMGT Live, the Midday Therapy, Shamari Carroll, Jamal on the ones and twos just passing through the studio today. One of the interesting things that I have been kind of dealing with on my own has been the SOS, the state of soca. And I've realized that talking to a lot of different people in our creative space, depending on who you speak to, you will get a different answer from somebody, just depending on what's going on with them at the point in time, you know? I think for some people, they may give you what I call is the cookie cutter answer, like, yeah, everything is good, everything is great. But I have really been able to be around a lot of other people who have really given me their honest opinions on the state of the soca industry. So I'm asking you, Melly Rose, what, in your opinion right now, is the state of the soca industry?
Okay, so me coming in from the outside in, you know, I literally like buckled down and I got into the industry and I just was like observing and seeing what part I can play in soca, right? And as I have observed and look, and even with the pandemic, I feel like soca kind of broke my heart because as I looked at the business of it and the growth of it and the even the making it into a business, because as an artist when you go into it, yeah, you go into it with a passion, you go into it, as something you love, but you also want it to be a career. You want it to be something that will give you financial stability, something that you can grow with, something that you all around, not even as an artist but also financially, right? And for me, what I have on my part of it, it comes with a cap. It comes with like it's kind of stagnant. You know what I mean? Look at the growth between how many young artists came in and to the old artists of the big gap and have in between of that. And it's rare that like I'm always excited when I see like an artist get through like Teja got through last season, but how long Teja was doing it before he even got a hit, or not even a hit, like able to now maybe make a business out of it. And still, that's a conversation maybe you should have with Tesha to see. And I don't know if he'll be open to talk about it, about how his finances look. You know what I mean? And for me, I have like a lot of artist friends who are in the Afrobeats market, or they're in the R&B market, or they're in the hip hop market, and just talking to them about how they grew in it and how their finances looked as they grew in it. Um, it's way different from talking to a soca artist. It's way different from it's way different to the growth in soca. And a lot of people keep telling me, it's because of the numbers, it's because there's not a larger audience, etc. But I have realized more and more it's not really because of the audience that they already have, but because we are not open to spreading it to new spaces.
It's very funny you raise that because I got two thoughts on that. One,
Yeah.
one of the big conversations, I guess, coming out from what would have taken place this week, is not just the fact of the choice that people would have made on Tuesday. The choice is not the point. The point is the economic sustainability that a lot of people feel or don't feel at this point in time.
Yeah.
And all across the world, you're seeing individuals now really having a very keen mindset on how the time and the investment that they have is spent and the remuneration that comes from that. And
Right.
speaking, as you said, from your point of view, as I said, soca kind of break your heart. And when you look at the long-term sustainability of what is happening, there is a question on if we are building a platform where more people have the opportunity to come into it and to be able to make the kind of money that they would like to over the long run. Do you think
Right.
that that is one of the major issues as to why we're not seeing a lot more younger acts and younger artists break out as much as we would like to?
That's one of it, but it's also a lack of inclusion. In order, okay, so soca is not a genre. Like, we're not America. Like our industry isn't like America industry, like the pop or the R&B or the rap. So we cannot follow that template because we don't have labels investing. We don't have the capital that they invest into the business in order to gain the rewards. All we have is each other, right? So, like, a lot of us have different platform, and I think I said this to a friend of mine the other day. I said the biggest thing that Soka is missing is literally unifying and actually working together, not
Right.
just once in a blue moon saying, "Oh, let me bring somebody out on the stage or do a collaboration," and not push it. That person will push it. Just my name on itself will push it. It takes a lot of work and a lot of unity, and I think Soka is lacking that heavily.
What, what
Every
I don't want to cut you across, but I actually want to delve a little bit deeper into that point. And that brings me to the conversation that we had 2 weeks ago with Logic and Shane E. For everybody that did not have a chance to look at that conversation, I'm working very hard to see if I can have that placed on YouTube within the next couple of days. But there was an Instagram post that we posted on my Instagram at Shamari KRL and GMGT.LIVE. Essentially, Logic was speaking to the fact that as an artist in reggae and dancehall, he could go to any street corner, go amongst any of his friends, and say, "Look, I have a song," and they would say, "Yo, well, come to the studio and do this and do that and do the other." And conversely, he was saying that it within the soca fraternity, that space, that creative space doesn't necessarily exist. It's not as easy for you to be able to go to a random person or be within a random circle and say, "Yo, I have a track. I want to be able to come and vibe and do something." And he's been saying that it's not that easy for those things to happen. We did speak about, the one or two crews, if you want to put it like that, that may have their team of people that, yo, this guy is a party team and he will come to record. That guy's party team, he will come to record. But as a new artist breaking out to the industry, there are very little, if not almost no spaces where, as a young person, and in his exact words, as a ghetto youth, there are very little spaces for him to be able to do that. Is that something that you agree with, or you see it differently?
Well, okay, so this is the thing, right? Let me see how to put this. I think it's even bigger than that. I think we don't have anyone that sees talent. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, okay, so like Soca is very clicky, right? So like somebody with like, and it's not even just the clickiness, it's like somebody with no, and I don't want to say talent because talent is also subjective.
Very subjective.
Someone who isn't passion isn't music and it's just a hustle can
Right.
come along and say, "Oh yeah, I just befriend this person," and because they're friends or they are maybe able to make that person some kind of money, they will pick that over someone who has talent and actually have the drive to be able to push a sound, a vocal, a talent onto a bigger stage, into a bigger artist, into audiences that actually appreciate talent.
Right.
Do you get what I'm saying?
I
So
totally
like
understand.
I think there is a lack of people that see talent and know what to do with talent.
Right. Right.
Do
But
you
but
get do you,
the argument could be made that this is a this is a parallel byproduct of our society. We always like to say for people tuned in, for especially Caribbean people, nobody will take you seriously. But if Melly Rose goes to Toronto and she has a song that everybody in Toronto is singing, and then Drake comes and say, "Yo, Melly, I want to remix that tune with you." All of a sudden, everybody's like, "Yo, we need to jump on Melly Rose." So we would have totally forgotten the talent that was there, but
yeah.
waited until she would have gone to an external place to get that validation on the external international market, to then come back home to be able to have the validation from home. Is that kind of like where you're coming from, or is it
Yeah,
something?
but the key thing that they're missing about that is like if we don't support us, we like even okay, so like American market is a business. Outside is a business, right? So like when you see artists go out to the American and they get signed, it's basically they're getting a budget in order for them to push them in the American market. Because nothing in them, a lot of things in America, if you're seeing people blow up, it's because someone invested in them. The difference is it's like local people need, we don't have that budget, so we need the people to invest in the people. Do you get what I'm saying? And the industry, the quote unquote industry that's in our space, they are not invest. You know how like American industry they invest in that, or they're not investing in the artists. So
Right.
now they're cutting their leg off, and then when they go outside and they break, and even with the people, because look at Shantia. Shantia is the perfect example. Our people started being like, "Yeah, you're selling out. You're doing outside stuff, and they kind of wanted to start pulling away from her, right? But she was getting the highlight outside, wasn't she?
Correct, correct,
She was
correct.
getting. But the thing is that the industry that we have isn't giving the support that is necessary in order to highlight our space.
let, let me
And
let me let me be devil's advocate for a minute, right?
yeah,
Being here in New York, obviously I'm around the biggest businesses, and the
right,
argument could be made that they have the budget to put 20 million behind Ice Spice, 30
right,
million behind Sexy Red, or 100 million behind someone else. So coming from our cultures and our economy, the argument could be made that there are much less resources that could go
exactly.
into doing that. So if the issue is a resource problem, what do you think are some of the ways that we could engage in different activities to mitigate against those, just it being a financial issue?
So, are you talking about in reference of our artists becoming international artists, or our artists actually building a platform that's sustainable? Different thing.
All right, I'm talking about the support that may come from our respective economies for the artists. I'm talking about it in that regard, because from some of my understanding of the industry, a lot of these artists, especially the international market, they have very big labels that are behind them that will invest a lot
Right,
of money into giving them a platform in a radio station to play the
right,
tune and,
right,
and that kind of stuff. But
right,
that in itself is still big business, because they're always looking to push the next. There needs to be somebody
correct.
else, somebody new. But in our, as I said, in our respective economies, that might not necessarily be the case. I don't know if it is that is the position that you look at it as that, or if you are looking at it from a different angle.
But that's you just hit the nail on the head. You said that they're always bringing in a new artist. They're always pushing. The different. Okay, so we don't have the budget, but we do have the structure, right? So instead of saying, okay, one artist released 20 songs this season, and we're going to pay because that artist was already big and established, we're going to play that 20 songs. You can say, okay, we're going to play at least two or three, and then give a space for younger artists in order for people to pick up on the music, the consensus, because soca especially, their audience, they go to specific platforms to get their music. They go to specific DJs. They go to specific events to be able to hear it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, a lot of the audience, there's a few people that will go out of their way to go look for the music, but that's not how the audience is. They go to specific spaces to get the music, right?
Correct.
Knowing that, now we now it's now our duty as an industry to make a space to introduce the new audience. Even if the even and I've heard so many people and DJs say, "Oh yeah, but they don't want to hear that." No, that is what they every time you play something new, because they're not moving, that means they don't want to hear it. No, it's something new to them, so they're getting familiar. But if you keep introducing it, they will get familiar enough for it to be a thing, just like you do with every other artist.
Yeah, I think that definitely is a cultural shift that needs to take place. Going to events here, I've realized coming to some events, Jamal, I'd see people in the party. They may not necessarily know the song, but because of the beat and because of the energy that's behind the music, they will actually give it some level of attention. And as you rightfully say, it's going to be a gradual step into doing that. But I
Exactly.
think the repetitiveness of what we're accustomed to sometimes shoots us in the foot before we can walk forward towards progress. So I totally
Yeah.
take that point of what you're saying. We got 20 more minutes to go inside with Melly Rose. Brad, if you want to ask a question, I'll just tune in the mic for you shortly. Before I give Jamal the floor just to ask his question, one of the things that I know for a fact in our conversations, and then you would have placed this on social media recently, is the fact that currently you have not been taking any bookings to perform, right?
Yeah.
And on your social media posts, which I advise everybody to check out, one of the things that you were indicating was that you didn't feel that you were entirely ready. Not necessarily because you don't have the ability to, but at the same point in time, to be able to give that part of yourself, to give that energy out, I understand that there needs to be a particular mentality and there needs to be a particular level of comfort within self to do that. What do you think, if you're willing to share, was the one thing that drove you to the point where you thought, hey, I think for the time being, I'm good on performing? And how has the experience of not being on stage to perform for individuals, because that's what you are, a performer, how has that been for you mentally and emotionally?
So let's start with what triggered it. I was in Dubai and I went for like a gala that I sang at, and we had like a mini meet and greet there, right? And I had some of my supporters there. I hate the word fans. I had some of my
I
supporters.
hate
All
it
of
too. I
us
hate
was,
it too. I hate it.
huh?
I hate the word fans too. I hate the word
Yeah, I
fans. We
hate that word
continue.
fans. I had some of my supporters like they came and they were like singing the songs to me and like telling me about which song like helped them through certain things. And
Wow.
like we were just having a really great conversation and it made me start to cry because like being in our space, like especially in the soca space, it makes like I've had so many people tell me that I need to change the music that I create so I can make a certain kind of music to get like them to play it in the clubs and the parties and stuff like that. And it was starting to hit me on the shoulder. It was starting to make me feel like the music that I was making wasn't the right music, although I know the music that I was making was heart music. It was
Right.
genuine music. It was music that, you know what I mean, I has helped me through storms. And I know that even some of the people in my personal space have told me it helped them through storms. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like when I had that experience, it was just like, and we were coming up to like me coming back home and decided we had come out of the pandemic and me deciding, if how we want to start doing performances, if we wanted to do our own shows or if we wanted to like take bookings and stuff like that. Me and my team were having that conversation. It just made me be like, for me, honestly, Shamari, I'm not doing music as a hustle. I'm
Right.
not doing it to make money. You know what
Right.
I mean? I'm doing it for the love of it. You know what I mean? Making money is an addition to it. I want to make my music into you know what I mean, a career and making money to sustain my life. But
Yeah.
that's not the reason why I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So we sat down, we had a conversation, and we decided, like, I was like, when I do a show, I want an inclusive show. And I
Right.
also want a show that reflects the type of music that I make. I want a show that when the audience is there, I want us to have a moment. I want the people who was in that room who was singing my song word for word, I want them in the room. I want when they leave there for them not to feel like they just had a moment of one song, but we had a moment of inclusion and all of us together, just having that moment together.
It's funny you say that because there's always a parallel when it comes to what we do. And
Right.
why I could relate to that is because I was explaining to a friend of mine recently, after New York Labor Day, I kind of took a mini break from everything. Because I told them that at the point in time, I started to feel like I just wasn't loving what I was doing. And
Yeah.
it was like I would do an event, I'd play somewhere, and then I'd go back home and feel like I didn't come home feeling satisfied or feeling like I was inspired by what I did. And I think that
Yeah.
in this creative space, especially, if you're not feeling good about what you do after you do it, then that's a sign to take a pause. However,
Yeah.
in this continuously regenerating industry as it is, one of the things that we always understand is that if you're off the map, as people like to say, for a particular time. You know what I'm talking about. If you're
Yeah,
off the mark for a particular
yeah.
time, it's going to be more challenging now to get back in front of people because there are going to be those ridiculous comments like, Melly, you still are tunes, you're still singing. Is that a fear that you would have had at any point in time when you made that decision not to do this? Or is it something that you kind of accepted that this is part of the social media environment that we're in, this physically being there environment that we're in, and you were like, this was more important than that?
Okay, so this is the thing. When you say off of the spec, you mean in the soca world or the general of music world? Because honestly, okay, so like when I decided to do the stuff that I'm doing now, um, it took me out of the soca world, but I
Right,
also feel like, and I feel like when I was in this soca world, I wasn't accepted.
right.
So it's not taking away anything from me. Do you
How,
get what I'm
how do you
saying?
feel? How do you feel about that?
The thing is that, like, for me, I am big on have the experience. If it's not the experience for you, know that it's not the experience for you, and you still move.
Right.
Because like recently, like we premiered my last Wednesday, made it 46 countries. My music videos is playing in. You know what I mean?
Hey,
46 country, all my
hey,
music videos is playing in.
hey.
We are
Tap the
like, I
table.
got like multiple offers, television offers. Like we're moving. I'm seeing them. I just shot a commercial for South Africa. You know what I mean? Like we're moving. So
Right,
it's like I am not really I'm not sad about it because also my foundation wasn't built on me being in a specific space. My foundation has always been built off of my own audience. It's the goal is always just finding my people,
right, right.
so it's
That's true.
not built on that. So that's why it doesn't affect me to move.
Yeah, yeah. And the funny thing, Jamal, I'll bring in on this.
Yeah.
I have a saying I've been saying for the last, we're in 2024 now. This will be the last 9 years.
Yeah.
Go where the love is, right? And
That's true.
sometimes when you try to find yourself in a space and be accepted in that space, and individuals aren't accepting your talent, and you feel like you're being robbed, it's up to you to make that decision to find yourself in a space where people will appreciate the talent that you have and be willing to not just appreciate it, but give you the platform to do it. You
That's
know?
true. That's
Yep.
very true.
Yep. Yep.
I can I can say that that is the story of my career. I love music. I've been around music since I was a child, and for me, this is an expressive outlet. I'm not doing this because I want to be famous. I'm not doing this because of any particular money. Obviously, you have to feed your family and stuff like that. But one of the things that I think I was really blessed to realize early on is to understand that if the love is for the craft, there are other spaces that you will be able to excel in that may not be, the biggest of platforms or whatever, but as long as you're able to express and as you are in spaces where you're being, celebrated, not tolerated. You're
Right.
in spaces where, persons are adding that respect and that value to your craft and the things that you're bringing to the table, then you're in the right place.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
Yeah,
know?
I genuinely believe in like going to spaces, find your people because in every space there are your people, right?
Right.
And if there are people who at the moment aren't your people, it's also okay. And if
Right.
they decide they want to become your people, that's also okay.
Right.
But don't force it and keep moving
Right.
because there are the world the world is so big.
Yeah.
The world is so big, and I think a lot of times when you go into spaces, like when you're in the soca world or whatever world you are, you think this is the biggest world, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
Very true.
There is an entire world out there, and
Yeah.
there are
Very true.
people that would love your contribution.
Yeah.
You just have to do the work necessary to get it to your people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The mainstream is not the only one to swim in.
Listen, I agree with that 100.
That's not
But the
even.
thing is like also, also, and this is no shade or like, yeah, to the soca world, but the soca world is this big to the entire world.
Facts.
It's like this big. And if you think that because someone isn't thriving in the soca world, they're not it, you got to shake yourself out of that
That is facts.
Very, very true.
because you will limit yourself.
Very
That
true.
is why, and I've been saying this for the last year. I've said to everybody inside GMGT and even outside of GMGT. I've said to our boy Buzz B. I've said to multiple people. Soca falls as a minority in a minority. And if on the other scale of the other minority music and the other minority genres and cultures, they are struggling to keep afloat, but still have more opportunities because they have a greater platform and population of listeners. Sure. For us as Caribbean people, Caribbean expats, or the term I like to use, Caribbean adjacent, that appreciate what we do in Caribbean culture, we can't necessarily expect that what we're doing in the space that we're in is the be all and end all of everything, especially when there is a whole world of billions of people looking to listen to something new or something else.
Very true. Very true.
Even like in Trinidad here, you know how many people here are fans of other genres other than soca? They don't even listen to soca.
Yeah.
Like
That's
right
that's,
here in
that's what
Trinidad
I
and
heard. I
Tobago.
heard I heard outside of carnival season, Trinidad's a dance all kind of country.
You know,
You know?
bruh.
Listen, and no, and and the thing about it, like I really, and that's why anytime I interact with like a local dancehall artist, or that's how Trinidad is able to thrive in
Correct.
our space. Because it's not that they don't want it from their people; it's just that a lot of the people aren't giving it to them.
Correct.
We,
Trinidad is was one of the happiest things that for me came to the world because I'm a sucker for good steel pan. So you put that on anything, and in my opinion, it's good.
Right.
But you know, it's just so sad that a lot of the artists were trying to live up to the lyrics, and
yeah,
that
yeah,
genre
they're learning.
effectively killed
Yeah,
itself,
yeah.
figuratively and literally.
But you know, it's funny you say that because I look at, and I don't know if Melly you'll agree with this, Jamal, I don't know if you'll agree with this as well. Trinidad is the organic musical rebellion to the status quo in Trinidad and Tobago of soca
Yes.
being the predominant music for everybody. Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, there are a lot of young people who, as you rightfully say, don't listen to soca. They don't feel attached to soca. And for us who might be a little bit more mature, when we hear them saying that, we're like, oh, how you know, as we like to say, how you could not listen to that is your culture, whatever, whatnot. But your culture sometimes too is subjective.
Yeah.
And what you may be accustomed to within your ecosystem of friends is not what other people be accustomed to in their lifestyle, where they are from and where they live. I don't know if it is that you guys agree with that or disagree with that.
That's very true. I think what you're saying can apply to broader life and society. You know, as you refer to it, what happened a few days ago. There's a lot of discussion about casting people to the side and cutting
Right.
people off and stuff like that. And I think that is indicative of what the problem is. How can we come to a meeting point or some point of convergence if we don't at least give a listening ear to what others who have differing opinions from us have to say? You know?
But that's going
How do
back.
you get a chance to win
That's
people
going
over?
back to the whole genre. Just as a lack of inclusion, like they lack to include a lot of the regular people. They lack to include the artists. There's a lack of inclusion all around. It's
Right.
like
Mhm.
everybody's just trying to hold on to something because they're benefiting from it and they don't want change. But change is the most important component, and inclusion is another important. And
So,
if you're not able to allow both of them to happen and you're not able to move with both of them, you are going to lose out because it's going to happen regardless.
okay, so I have another question here then. So, do you think, in terms of the state of music, you can make it soca music, whatever is most relevant to you? Do you think that it is a battle between talent versus marketability? Marketability?
That's is it you're asking me they have to because they have talent they're and they're lacking to market themselves. It's a downfall. Is that what you're asking? Let me be clear. I want to.
I'm
I'm not.
I'm asking, do you believe that in terms of who is platformed, that decision is being made based upon talent, or is it being made based upon marketability? In your opinion?
Um, who's being platformed in Soca?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Okay, so uh, in Soca right now, I think what they're basing it off of is time. Like the people
Mm,
who have put in the most amount of time.
Okay.
Not based on market, like if they're marketable or if they have talent. It's about the people who put in the most time, which is horrible because no offense to anyone, please don't take offense, but not because a lot of the people who have put in a lot of times aren't marketing themselves.
right.
And as time now that we are in a market necessary time, it's hindering the whole genre because the people who have the platform are based on only time and they don't know what to do with their platform.
Right.
Do you
Right.
get what I'm saying? So
Totally.
it's putting stagnance. And if someone else, like a younger person, come along and they're doing the market, because I've had people like be like, "Oh yeah, I'm not gonna pay this person this price because this bigger artist isn't asking for that, and I can get them for this." Or mm, even though the younger artist is doing all the necessary things, we're not going to give them this space because we have these older artists that has been giving so much time and we can get them, they have all this catalog because based off their time, and we're not able to give these younger people this space although they have the everything to be able to market.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is this is one of the main reasons why, and I've been in conversations with different people at this platform about this, that I really want to make these conversations that I have with individuals like yourself and anybody else much more open to these kinds of discussions in the hope that someone will look at it and we will actually be able to create or generate some ideas as to how we could go towards making change. Because coming from radio myself, usually when we talk to artists, a lot of times, let's be honest, when we talk to artists closer to the carnival season, it's usually three things. What is the new tune you're coming with? What you've been doing for the last couple of months? And where you're going to be performing for the carnival season. And I think that limits our ability to understand people like yourself, Melly, not just necessarily the music and all that, which is extremely important, but it still lacks an ability for us to get to know you better and to have a full appreciation and connection to what you do and what you represent. And I think that in itself, it goes with us being able now to give the platform to individuals, not just for them to have the time to do that, but to see them in a broader way. And I really want to be able to do that with these conversations. Do you think that having more platforms like this would assist with that? And this is not me giving myself undue credit, just tell everybody. I'm not doing that. We also have Shadi that does it.
Give yourself credit. Give
All
yourself
right, all
credit
right.
because you are
Well,
doing it.
I'll give myself
You're
some
doing
credit.
it.
All right, all right. But
Yes.
but do you think that?
It's very necessary. And the thing is it's so necessary, but you know what? and I'm going to say this also. I feel like I'm going to get some bullets to this, but
Listen.
yo,
When I send this recording to you, wherever you post it, that's on you. I mean, I'm quite certain talking to my team here, we're gonna be like, oh, should we use this clip or not? But still,
but
again,
no,
this
but
is safe space.
this is
Go
the
ahead.
thing, right? Like you can take the water to somebody, but you can't force them to drink.
Correct.
And one of my biggest lessons in like the Soca world is like, yo, they are fighting to keep it the same. They do not want change. Like and I'm not speaking for everybody. I'm just speaking for the people who I've encountered. They are
Right.
fighting to keep it the same. So even
Right.
if you have this conversation, and this is why I said this to one of my friends before, I'm like, yo, I'm not talking about industry stuff no more because it's so useless.
Yeah.
It's like you keep having the same conversation and they keep doing the same thing. Like nobody's trying to grow and do something different. They're like, oh yeah, I'm making what I'm making, and that's fine. And you know what's so crazy? The people who are making the most money in Soca can probably triple that if they actually do it the right way.
Right.
Mm.
Right.
Like everybody can be eating so much more.
Right.
Mm.
Right.
But it's
Okay.
like they're just like everyone is afraid for new, afraid to try something new, and afraid to gamble on themselves.
Okay. So it sounds to me as though you have a bit of insight there. So if you could, for other artists that may be watching this, up and coming artists, what would you suggest or what would you say are some other avenues to be able to monetize your talent or your skill sets?
I would always say social media, the digital world. I feel like our people have been so programmed to not use it, to be like, yeah, the concept of always selling stage has been so heavily promoted, and it's also like shot a lot of people in the leg because you
Right.
have to think about it this way. When to a concert, especially as a young artist, and you're performing, say you go to a bar, you go to a small gathering, and that's like a small audience right there, right? The internet has millions of people that's on there. If you are not tapping in to different audience using the internet, creating content, doing the necessary work in that space, you are now waiting for just you every time you get to the 200 few whatever audience you think when you can actually tap into millions.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree with that. You know, funny enough, I have a video that I've been meaning to post for the longest while. Why do DJs need to do DJ mixes? That's something I'm gonna probably post on the internet in a while. But I totally understand and agree with where you're coming from. We just have about we're actually past 4 o'clock, but we'll just go to about 10 past 4 because I gotta head across the Queens. But guys, we've been listening and joined by Melly Rose, talking about a lot of different things, saying some things that she probably may not want to post after.
Oh, I may post it because honestly, I ain't worried.
Melly Rose said nobody
No,
not messing with
no.
her bag.
At this, no, and at this point,
You know,
I honestly, we need to be look. We need to be much more constructively honest. There will be those that will be
yes,
destructively honest, huh? And the
yes.
destructive honesty is not necessarily where we want to go. We want the constructive honesty, but at the same point in time, as Melly was saying, how many of the people listening to the constructive honesty are actually going to take it and not be offended by it? Because we need to make some changes somewhere.
True, true.
Before
But
we leave. Go ahead, Melly. Go ahead. You go ahead.
but the thing about it, this conversation we're having, honestly, I don't. Only reason why I say I'm going to get bullet is because I know there are people who are extra sensitive about things that also like they shouldn't be. In every conversation, there's a lesson. Do you get what I'm
Right.
saying? If
Yeah.
nobody's calling you out of your name or this is good using profanity against you, and it's just a conversation, nothing is wrong with a conversation. If
I
you
agree.
take it, internalize it as someone triggering you or targeting you, well, then you need to do some self work.
Yeah. I agree with that. I
Yeah.
totally agree with that. As we're getting ready to wrap up, do you have any idea at this current point in time when you think you will be ready to hit stage again, or is it still something that you're deciphering within your spirit, within your emotions, and generally within your environment as well to make that decision?
Yeah, I'm kind of like, I feel, and I said this to my team, and they chuckled. I was like, I feel like it's an internal thing, and I will know when it's right.
Right, right,
For now, honestly, I just want to get the music to the people.
right, right,
I want to get the music to the people, let them find the songs that they love, connect with the songs. Because that's another thing. I feel like in our space, we do not promote streaming enough.
right, right,
We don't give the audience enough time to connect with the music.
right.
We use it and throw it away. And my music, I'm not making my music to use it and throw it away.
Yeah,
That's extremely true.
that is true.
Because I think that a big part of artists' development is the process of it. You know, as she said, a lot of artists come, and you know, just from what I see being in the industry, sometimes they undercut themselves. You know, in this, you know, having this sort of almost zealous thirst for okay, what's new, what's next, what's new, what's next. And I think sometimes in getting caught up in that cycle.
You forget to sit with what you would have put out there as a creative element of yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. And that's the thing. I feel like we're the only genre that do that.
Yeah.
And we should also look at that like part of what is cutting us in the leg.
Yeah.
Like that's part, like we want to be a successor genre. If we say we want to be a successor genre, we have to be able to look at the entirety of it and fix it.
Yeah.
Because because our artists are getting old and they're not immortalized as legends and what they actually are because of that system.
Yeah. 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 Well, I will say this. You made a mention to a name a little bit earlier in the conversation, which is Michael Teja. I have reached out to Teja, and I'm hoping to have him very, very soon here. To which I'll make some reference to this conversation. And I always like to make references to previous conversations I have, because I think all of what we're talking about with the people that we discuss can be applied in different areas. And just because, like I said, with Logic and Shane E, they sing dancehall, but a lot of their experience could also be applied to somebody else who's singing a different genre, but we come from the same culture. So I think it's very, very important that we do make that space, and we do give the platform for that to happen. Before we get out of here, two things, Melly. I know that we played Sugar Plum earlier. Let us know, is there any new music that we can expect like within the next couple of weeks? When is this para? Now, I'll tell both of you, I'm not a parang lover. I've been saying that for the last 3 years. And every time I come, it's like, but why you don't like? I am not a parang lover. However, I do give credit to my culture. So let us know when will the parang tune be dropping?
So we're planning on it like in the next few weeks, maybe like 2 or 3 weeks, we'll release it.
Right.
But I hope you love this one. It's going to be, she's very is a collaboration,
Right.
and the person on it is very traditional, and me, I bring my own flair as usual.
Right.
But I actually this project made me so happy because like I felt like I am paying respect to culture.
Right. Right. And
Do
that,
you get what I'm saying? And that for me, that is very important.
and that actually goes back to, when I was designing this show, and I said to myself, you are one of the people that I want to make sure I have a conversation with. Because I feel like what you do is geared towards self-service of what you love and what you want to bring to the world, as opposed to just doing it because it may be trendy. A lot of people out here doing things because it's trendy, but it takes a lot of courage, a lot of self-actualization to be able to go against the trend and do something that you love, even if it is that it might not necessarily bring the profitability immediately as somebody else. And that of itself shows a lot about your character, who you are as a person, what you stand for, as I like to say to people, what your constitution is. Because it means that deep within yourself, there's a level of depth to what you're doing that many people will not necessarily understand, but those that understand it are the ones that become the followers and not just the fans. You know, so Melly, I wanna say thank you so much for linking up with us for this conversation. This will not be the last. I know, as I said, this is something that we planned a very long time ago, and I'm gonna say it the next time. Whenever we do have conversation, we will touch on other things differently because we don't want to come across like we just bad talking. This is not a soca therapy session, right? We're not getting out that negative energy.
We love soca. We love soca. We love our culture. This conversation is literally just about how we could make it better.
Correct.
How we can build off of what is already there.
Correct. I agree with that.
And an honest one, an honest conversation.
I totally agree with that. Before you go, let everybody know where they can find you on social media. The funny thing is, I know you have like about 3 or 4 pages. Melly have the Melly Rose official page. Wow. Then she have the Melly Rose fashion page. Wow. You know, then it's a fan page. But let everybody know where they can find you on social media before we get out of here.
So you can find me on Melly Rose official Instagram, Melly Rose Facebook, Melly Rose Music Twitter. I don't really use my Twitter that much. I use my Thread. But once you find me there, you'll find everything else.
Yeah.
Melly Rose official.
Well, Melly, we want to thank you so much for making time for us today. I hope that in all that you're doing right now, you continue doing it because you want to bring that happiness to yourself. And I want to thank you as well, too, for, some of those times when we have those back-to-back voice notes. It really does go a long way, especially when I'm feeling probably the same way that you're feeling at the point in time. So I want to thank you very, very much for being with us today.
Thank you so much, Shamari, for, just this platform. Thank you for always being kind. You're a genuinely kind person. You have such an amazing heart. Never lose yourself in this music world. And keep being yourself. And thank you so much for sharing your platform with me.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. All right. We'll pick up very soon. Thank you so much.
Bye. Have a good evening, guys.
Same to you.
Bye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Melly Rose inside the Midday Therapy today. Shamari Kiara alongside Jamal. This. Remember, we were in Toronto, and I told you. This is the kind of thing that we want to do. I mean, we want to play the music. Yeah. We want to be entertained by the music. Yeah. But we also want to edify the people.
That's true.
We want to edify the people. Thanks for passing through today, bro.
No problem.
Tony, thanks for passing through today. I appreciate you guys. Look, for everybody that's tuning in, this was quite random. These guys were just supposed to pass through today, talk to Kareem, talk to me, and just vibe. But at the same point in time, when we have the little technical issues, we have to be able to have people to jump in and do what they need to do. All right. So thank you guys so much for tuning in today inside this edition of the Midday Therapy. I will see you guys next week, Thursday at 1 p.m. I'll be back next week, Thursday, working on having a guest again next week, Thursday. So hopefully that person will be available. Just to remind you guys as well, this Saturday, 710 Nostrand Avenue, My Soca Weekend returns to the Savvy Bistro and Bar. You are free before midnight, and we go from 11 p.m. till 3 a.m. And remember, and I know you're going to give me a talk for saying this, if you come with your boo, and the place a little bit chilly, and you want to hug up and get some heat in the system, tell Kareem, Shamari send you to get a drink. Right? He ain't gonna tell you that.
You see that? But when I was doing this to Shamari in Toronto.
Regard. Have a great evening, everybody. Keep it locked to GMGT.LIVE, where the culture lives.
Baby. Baby, I'm drowning in your love. Never felt a love like this before. The things that you do is never done. My darling, my baby, shake up, come. You define the meaning of your love. A blessing coming from up above. My baby, my darling, shake up, come. love you for forever and ever. Love me up and squeeze me up, boy. You can do anything you want. You can do anything you want. Jam me up and rough me up, boy. You can do anything you want. You can do anything you want to. We are meant to be. You complete me, baby. We are meant to be. You complete me, baby. Anytime you want, boy, make a put it on me. Put it on me, yeah, yeah. Put it on me, baby. Anytime you want, boy, make a put it on me. Put it on me, yeah, yeah. Put it on me. Love me up and squeeze me up, boy. You can do anything you want. You can do anything you want. Jam me up and rough me up, boy. You can do anything you want. You can do anything you want to. Baby, I'm drowning in your love. Never felt a love like this before. The things that you do is never done. My darling, my baby, shake up now. You define the meaning of your love. A blessing coming from up above. My baby, my darling, shake up now. Love you for forever and ever. Squeeze me up, boy. You can do anything you want. You can do anything you want. Jam me up and rough me up, boy. You can do anything you want. You can do anything you want to. Love me.
Boss, I'm not coming to work today. I can't see. No, nothing wrong with my eyes. I just can't see myself coming to work today. Thank you. In other words, I'm not doing one today. Don't tell me about work, I out on the road today. Me and some pretty I out on the boat today. I don't care what time of day it is, I'm drinking rum today. Having fun today. Yeah! Holiday. Today is a holiday. I don't care what nobody say. I'm not going to work today. Holiday. Today is a holiday. I don't care what nobody say. I'm not doing no work today. I'm on the road, yeah. To the beach, yeah. To the club, yeah. Pool party, bus crawl. Uptown, yeah. Downtown. If it's a birthday, turn up. Get drunk till your face get numb. When my crew they come around, drinks up and sing along. Holiday. Today is a holiday. I don't care what nobody say. I'm not going to work today. Holiday. Today is a holiday. I don't care what nobody say. I'm not doing no work today.
Where we going? Big Jammer. 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 Pull up the parking lot, rammer. Line by the door, don't long. Where we going? Big Jammer. Who playing a big band? Fresh like no time to go in. Straight to the bar with the team. Alright, got it for strong 10 shots. Where we going? Cool in the back. Look round, so out the scene. Alright, now find me a feed. Band straight up, I don't line up. She ready for the walk, for the wind up. Go off like a clock when the time up. Wake up, all of me white shot, man. What paparazzi? False alarm, false alarm. The lights turn off, lights turn off. It's only now party starts. Front to back, wall to wall. Fighting like you know tomorrow. You can just buy the whole bottle. You can talk, make them remodel. The whole club lit. The whole place lit. Your team lit. My team lit. She pressing me. How come you dancing with Stephanie? I couldn't tell her it's jealousy. Maybe it must be the Hennessy. Oh, you know what? I gon' walk water them. And she gon' bring all my friends. And I gon' bring all my friends. So we can walk all of them. Don't watch me, watch TV. My mother tell me see and don't see. Act blind, don't rap. That he girl getting walked in the back. Look how she pushing it back. Look how she pushing it back. Just like that. Just like that. Look how she pushing it back. Killing it straight from the back. I love her so then she drop. Cleaning the floor like a falling, soaking wet, and I up in every fet. It could be hot sun or storm, it's fet till I'm falling down, I'm falling down. Say look, I'm falling, girl and them like they want me. Fet till I'm falling down, I'm falling down. Say look, I'm falling, all I liquor they pouring. Fet till I'm falling. I want to wave, I want to whine. So if you tell me I have to go, no, no, oh no, I'm gonna take a wind down low, then I'm going and wind up so, and take a jump until morning, then till I'm falling, soaking wet, and I'm up in every fet. It could be hot sun or stars, then till I'm falling down, I'm falling down, so look, I'm falling, girl I look like you want me.
Oh gosh, oh child, feel like you're the sweetest woman, woman, woman.
The sweetest, yeah. Oh Lord, mama, togetherness and the love is so strong, oh Lord, Lord, Lord.
And me don't care.
This kind of energy, Lord, it rain.
Watch how every hand up in the air. Yeah.
So we go turn up the place, we go mash up the place.
What's gonna be our people reaching your fetish?
Niceness. Oi, oi. Hands in the sky, we bring the vibes. Once we reach in your fetish, niceness. Yeah, oi, oi.
They can't deny we bring the vibes. And I don't mean to be bossy, but they can't party like we.
Once from man Soca day, well for sure at Trinidad, they can party like we.
Too much time on day, we could start it anyway.
Run away,
Boys,
run away. Look at, run away. Mother-rific.
well, I hope nobody make me out anytime I open up my mouth in a party. In a party. And there's certain things that they don't know. I just keep the business on the low in a party. In a party. 'Cause I'm free to be me.
I'm free to be me now, 'cause things some little shaking, and right now my head aching. Ha! As I open the door, they calling me run away. 'Cause I get the road away.
And I ain't go home yet, but I inside a bed.
Yeah.
Getting drunk and wet, drunk and wet, drunk
Everybody
and
put on your
wet.
hands right now.
Let me jump, Isa, run away. Let me wave, Isa, run away.
Let me dance, Isaac.
Run away.
Misbehave, Isaac.
You see that girl over there, run away. And that man over there, run away. That crew over there, run away. Them look like they run
Tell
away.
them now, me and see my house for the world day. I outside on the roadway. I have no time for quarreling, fighting up, and no argument, no way. Me put on me Louis Vuitton, the girl them in the Gabbana and Dolce. Amongst my brethren, my sister, I link up now with me gods and Osha. I'm telling you right now, I have no time for argument and no fight now.
But things are little shaky, and right now my head achy. Yo, as I walk out the door,
They calling me run away, 'cause I get the road all day.
and I ain't go home yet, but I inside a bed.
Inside of the
Getting drunk and wet, drunk and wet, drunk and wet.
tell them,
Let me jump,
But people always looking for scene in a party. In a party. No, I don't want no links, I just want drinks. I don't even want to think when I in a party. In a party. Cause I'm free to be me. I'm free to be me now. Cause things some little shaking. And right now my head aching. Ha! As I open the door, they calling me run away. Cause I on the road all day. And I ain't go home yet, but I inside a fete. Getting drunk and wet, drunk and wet, drunk
Everybody
and
put up
wet.
your hands right now.
Let me jump, Isa, run away, let me wave. Isa, run away, let me wine. Isa, run away, let me jump. Isa, you see that gal over there, run away. And that man over there, run away. That crew over there, run away. Them look like they run away. Ha! Legs and killer.
Legs, boy.
The party bad, bad, the party bad, real bad, the party bad, bad, bad. Yeah.
From a rich inside the session, I drunk already. I see a sexy girl, I want to walk already. I drink about 10 buckle of rum already. I don't take a selfie, Instagram already. I'm moving like a madman. Whoa, yeah. It's problems in this session. Whoa, give me space like a pedestrian. Whoa, yeah. And please don't ask no question. Whoa, yeah. Ha. More up, no water. Party getting hotter. All them gyal well looking good. I come to deal with the matter. Sick, no doctor. Mash up the dance like tractor. Fetting is my religion. DJ is the pastor. Just give me rum, a bucket or a drum. All on the ground. Them woman whining down. Mass in the place. She whining in me face. Don't take it wrong. It's so we just get on. Yo, get out. The party bad. Bad. The party bad. 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 The party bad. Real mad. The party bad. From a rich inside the session, I drunk already. I see a sexy girl, I want to walk already. I drink about 10 buckle of rum already. And I don't take a selfie, Instagram already. I'm moving like a madman. Whoa, yeah. It's problems in this session. Whoa, give me space like a pedestrian. Whoa, yeah. And please don't ask no question. Whoa, yo, killer. Hey, yo, more girl, more bumper. Just take not for water. Any girl in front of me, for sure I go walk her. Hey girl, come over. Let me give you pepper. You know when I drink me rum, I just walk it better. Hey, party feeling sweet. So if the police come, tell them they could take me care, but please don't take me wrong. Boy, no drinking and driving. Tonight I surviving. Me and the whole team living. And took it girl and a wine. Party bad, bad, party bad, 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 the party bad, real mad, the party bad. From a rich inside the session, I drunk already. I see a sexy girl, I want to walk already. I drink about 10 buckle of rum already. And I don't take a selfie, Instagram already. I'm moving like a madman. Whoa, it's problems in this session. Whoa, give me space like a pedestrian. Whoa, and please don't ask no question. Whoa,
Party after party, now we mash up the place. Party after